Okay, I call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody to day 2. We are going to start off with some very important awards and recognitions that we have today. It's always a great pleasure for this board to recognize our great faculty, and to do that we have our Academic Senate President, Jane Patton, to start us off. Yes, and we have Paul Lanning, too, with a the money man, with a big smile and a check, I think.
President Himmelstein, Chancellor Scott, members of the board, as the president pointed out, this is always a joyous occasion, and it's a great honor to have the opportunity to recognize just a few of the incredibly outstanding faculty we have across the state. And for these 4 people, remember we've got 50,000 more faculty out there across the state, across the street, doing an outstanding job in all of their disciplines as well. So the first person that, actually before I get to the first person, I think you'll find it interesting the range of programs and the range of colleges. We've got urban and rural, we have CTE, non-credit, and transfer curriculum. Really a nice mixture of what we see in our colleges across the state, and among them they have publishing excellence, they have leadership excellence, certainly they have teaching excellence, and I think you'll find all of those in the brief introductions I'll give to each of them. So the first person I'd like to call forward is Scott Haskell. Scott Haskell teaches veterinary technology. There was a typo in your agenda. It's veterinary technology and microbiology at Yuba College. And as a dog lover, I very much appreciate that he develops good vet techs. Besides his students saying that he is awesome, one of his students says, not only is he an expert, but a caring and compassionate person with a great sense of humor. He makes learning fun. He always keeps us in stitches, which I think is medical humor, with the names that he gives us for the different procedures and lab activities. His local Senate president said, Scott's an inspiration to us all. He epitomizes excellence in education. In his character, his classroom, his campus committee work, his publications and presentations, and volunteer work for state, national, and international agencies. So as you can see from your agenda packet and from this summary, that Scott Haskell is a well-deserving recipient of this year's Hayward Award for Excellence. And so we'll come over and join the group. Will you join me in congratulating Scott? Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you very much.
Over here?
Okay.
And I failed to remind everyone that this is sponsored by the foundation, and Paul Lanning has presented a nice envelope in addition to the plaque.
Is there something?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
kind of you. Thanks again. Thank you.
Thanks for your great work.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next person is, let's see, I think it's Ian Walton.
Congratulations.
Ian Walton, would you want to come over here so they can all see you? Ian Walton is a familiar face. He has been in this room for many, many years. And I need to introduce him as a scholar and a friend. He teaches mathematics at Mission College, which is also familiar to me, but I had absolutely nothing to do with the selection, I promise you, of these awards. Truly, he rose completely on his own experience and expertise. The local Senate president said of Ian Walton, he has spent a lifetime in developing creative and excellent ways of achieving excellence in education, both in the education that he provides his students, as well as the excellence of our college and the community college system as a whole. Locally, Ian pioneered the Mathematics for Liberal Studies class, which has been very, very popular. And as a liberal studies major, I would have liked that class. It is a class such that students who feared or maybe dreaded math came away not only smarter, but with an appreciation of mathematics. One student said, "When I see his passion for math in his class, it reminds me that I should try to overcome my difficulties in a weaker subject for me rather than just try to pass it." At the state level, Ian's service to faculty is more than exemplary. As an academic senate member and president, he was responsible for at least a dozen publications about using technology in the classroom and for distance learning. He was the inspiration behind the Basic Skills Initiative at the time that he was president of the State Academic Senate. Ian said, "Classroom activities, however excellent, are not enough to provide the very best for our students. Teachers must be educational leaders in their college and in the state. They must be advocates for their faculty colleagues and for their students." Clearly, Ian Walton has lived his philosophy. Will you join me in congratulating him on this honor today?
That's all right. There's time.
I'll get it by the last. Thanks, Paige.
Congratulations. Hey man, how you doing?
Our next awardee today is Bruce Yoshiwara. If he will please come forward.
Sorry, Paige.
Bruce Yoshiwara teaches mathematics at L.A. Pierce College. His faculty colleague and the local Senate president summarizes Bruce in the following way. He has dedicated himself to making a difference not only in mathematics, but mathematics teaching and learning, but is reaching out all over campus to work with other departments to achieve institutional student success and improvement. He uses his position as department chair to a good advantage to make relationships with administrators, counselors, and fellow chairs to bring about this institutional change. I'm told that students flock to his classes, and I must say in mathematics, that's wonderful. I teach public speaking, so I can say that. They usually run from our classes as well. I hear that his classes are always full and that he has an outstanding rate of student retention and success. Now, the innovations of Bruce on his campus are particularly interesting, and I'd like to read a couple of them to you now. One of his innovations is modular elementary algebra, which is a team-taught, modular, mastery-based, activities-driven format for beginning algebra. He is the primary author of online resources and a co-author of text materials. And then the Modeling Algebra Project is an activities-based course with contextual development of algebraic concepts. It includes online videos and in-class clicker questions for immediate algebra. And the ASAP is a one-semester math immersion project combining elementary and intermediate algebra. Now, as a member of the Student Success Task Group, which is looking at innovations and new strategies for basic skills, I think that we'll definitely want to look at the work that Bruce has done at innovating the way mathematics is delivered at LA Pierce. Would you join me in congratulating Bruce Yoshiwara? And our next recipient is Sylvia Ramirez. I am particularly proud that Sylvia Ramirez is one of the recipients this year because she teaches in a non-credit program in San Diego at Miracosta. She teaches English as a second language, and our non-credit programs are an essential part of what we do in community colleges for immigrant students. And I'm just delighted that Sylvia is one of our honorees today. I'd like to read to you a little bit from her educational philosophy, which I think is a very good summary of who she is. I believe that education is a journey of self-development for the student and the instructor. I believe that serving my students is the highest calling. It is a mission that is both personal and institutional. My students are the future. Indeed, the future is being shaped by the community college's hands and by my hands. Chancellor Scott said in an address at the Community College League of California conference, after all, we are the college of the open door. Where else will the person from a low-income family, the beleaguered single mother, or the immigrant seeking language skills go? His statement resonates profoundly with me. And then she goes on to say that when she was 35 with 5 young children, she went back to her local community college where she is now privileged to teach as a full-time faculty member. I mean, it gives you goosebumps. And finally, in her philosophy statement, Sylvia said, I realize that I play an especially important role in supporting the transition of students from non-credit to credit academic and career technical courses. There may be no other profession where the journey is as important as the results. Teaching immigrant students continues to be fulfilling, exhausting, challenging, and ultimately deeply rewarding. I remain grateful that I can build student competence, confidence, and success in the world that we share. Will you join me in congratulating Sylvia Ramirez?
very much. Thank you.
Would the 4 winners please come forward for one group picture? Chancellor will take one with the whole group, if you don't mind. And you.
Okay. I'm honored.
No, I think I'll go on this end, and then it will be all 4 recipients together. Oh, no, you stay there. You're fine.
Okay.
In the middle here.
Yeah, we need to stand for the backdrop so you're
Oh, we
really
need to
tight.
move in front of the flag, so we have to turn sideways.
Turn sideways.
Choir time. Just like the church choir.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do another one. And one last one. Perfect.
Thank you. Let's thank them all again.
If you indulge me, I want to say something.
Again, congratulations to all of you on behalf of all of our board, and Chancellor would like to say something.
Well, I had the honor of being in community colleges prior to my legislative work for 23 years. And I can't tell you how often I was impressed by the quality of community college teachers. They are the heart of the institution. Those of us in administration and classified staff and all, we support them because that's really where the interaction is that changes the lives of students in the classroom. And when I heard the story of Sylvia, I couldn't help but be reminded of the story of my own wife. We had 5 children. She went back, she had 2 years of college when she was foolish enough to get married to me. And then she went back to college in her early 30s, got her bachelor's degree, and eventually got her master's degree, and then had a 20-year teaching career at Cerritos College. It's a great place, the community college is, but what makes it great are the teachers, the faculty that day in, day out change the lives of students, those 2.75 million, and whether they're immigrants or low income or first generation or maybe high performing, they're taught the same and their lives are changed. And so I just am glad to honor these 4 today who are outstanding, but they represent a whole body of great, great faculty that make the community college what they are.
Okay, I'd like to take a minute and have Executive Vice Chancellor Bruckman introduce some new staff to us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce new staff. I'm going to take this opportunity to mention to the board that we are now in the midst of the most recent hiring freeze. So these are people who got in under the wire, and we aren't going to be hiring people for a while, it appears. So we're going to be making do with the folks we have, and hopefully our great employees are not going to be retiring too soon because we're not going to be able to replace them. Well, I'll ask Eric to go first.
All right, and I believe I just have one person who's joined us to work on economic and workforce development. David Lawrence, are you here? Hi. So David joins us. He's coming from the Department of Housing and Community Development. He has a background, an industry background. He's got a bachelor's degree in real estate and land use, and then worked for 15 years in the banking industry. So he's got some valuable, real-world experience out there from industry, and we're glad to have him on board. Welcome.
Sarah Tyson from Student Services will introduce.
Good morning. I will introduce 3 new staff in Student Services. First, I'm doing this alphabetically just because of no other reason. Terrence Gardner, and he is joining our financial aid unit and comes to us with over a decade in working in student financial assistance programs. And then secondly, we have Kim McDaniel, And Kim brings, joining our matriculation unit, and she brings 10 years of higher education and policy experience, and has a doctorate in higher education from the University of Southern California. And then last but not least, Jason Orta, who is our new statewide CalWorks coordinator, and he has 11 years of program administration and analysis experience, and comes to us most recently from the California Workforce Investment Board.
Our accounting manager, April Ovan Martinez.
Hi, I'm here to introduce Rachel Rechtenwald. She's our new addition to the accounting office. She does the systems, and she's my lead for help me run the accounting shop. So comes from Food and Ag.
Okay. Thank you and welcome to you all. I know we all look forward to working with you, and glad you all made it under the wire.
No, I got it.
We're going to have the chancellor now introduce our what?
Did you want to do the?
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. You're right. You're right. You're right. I do want to take care of one item of business that we moved over to today, and I forgot the number. 2.3. The issue was some revised language that the board wanted to again discuss today.
Thank you. Yeah, yesterday, when we were discussing the proposed change to regulation 53309 regarding the faculty obligation number and the parcel tax, the board indicated that it was interested in making this a one-time change. And so this was a change to the regulation on second reading. And we have a procedure for doing that, whereby the board can provide authority for the chancellor to actually adopt the regulation 15 days from now, because we need to provide 15 days public notice for the change. But rather than wait 2 months for the board to come back, your standing orders have a procedure whereby the chancellor can take the necessary steps after 15 days have passed. So we have in front of you is a document that at the top it says recommended action, and there's a resolution, and then there is a change to the regulation to make it a one-time change. If you turn to page 2, it specifically says this subdivision shall be limited to the parcel tax passed on June 8th, 2010. There was only one parcel tax passed on June 8th, 2010. It's the San Mateo tax that is at issue here. So that would be the way to make it a one-time change. But Fred Harris is going to provide a little bit more information, and then the board can take whatever action it wishes.
Well, good morning. I'm here on behalf of Dan Troy, who scheduled his jury duty during the Board of Governors and had a choice, civic duty and the new job. So, anyway, I wanted to just juxtapose the decision before the board, just to be clear. We are on a second reading of an item that was heard of the previous board that is trying to provide a certain amount of very limited flexibility to our board, to our districts, excuse me. And based on the discussion yesterday, the choice that you have before you is to limit just to one parcel tax. I guess I have the honor to maybe make a pitch that in this limited way, do we want to provide the flexibility as was previously discussed in the first reading, or do you want to limit it in a very narrow way?
Board, Chancellor.
My own view is that it's perfectly all right to limit it in this way, because I think it's highly unlikely that any more parcel tasks are going to be passed. I wish I could say otherwise, but it takes a 2/3 vote. And San Mateo passed it by the narrowest of margins. And most of our community colleges are not excited about the possibility of trying something of this nature. I know Foothill De Anza did, and unfortunately it failed. I guess I'm just saying that my guess is that this is a rather unique situation.
Board member comments? Member Baum?
Just as a local elected trustee, I agree with Chancellor Scott, but I do think that the flexibility should be extended to all districts, even though it is not likely that other districts will be going out in the near future on the parcel tax. So I would support extending it to all districts as the regulation originally was proposed.
I'm trying to understand the proposal.
Member
a little better
Baca.
here. When we're talking about flexibility, are we putting time on that, or is that? Give me some context. I'm not clear that I'm understanding.
Yeah,
I
the
think
original.
I think what Member Baum is saying, he would like the regulation voted on as is, so that going forward, any district has the flexibility to do this. Our other option is to limit it to take it on a one-time basis, limit it to this particular district who has passed a parcel tax, and basically granting them an exemption, but anyone else who would any other district who was fortunate, I guess, to pass a parcel tax would have to come back to this board for a similar exemption. Is that correct, Steve?
That's exactly
There we
right.
go.
Okay, and what we're just stating then is that anyone that would come would still have to do this? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just.
So if another college were to pass a parcel tax and wanted similar consideration as San Mateo may be getting here, they would have to come before this board. If we were to vote on this and pass it as originally crafted, this would apply across the board to all 72 districts or 112 colleges.
Okay.
Other board members?
And if the board chooses to use the amended language, I just ask that they reference the resolution that is in front of you and make that part of the motion. But that's only if you choose the new language.
Just to get things moving, I will move that we adopt the regulation as originally proposed without limitation.
Do we have a second?
I'll go ahead and second.
Okay, motion is seconded. Any other board member discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. The motion was to bring it back.
The motion was to amend it and bring, I thought the motion was to amend it and accept it with the amendment. We probably ought to confirm that.
Okay, Steve, we have a technical issue being brought up by Member Reed. Member Reed, do you want to bring up your issue, or do you want me to recapture it? I think Member Reed feels that possibly he had a motion yesterday on the table to limit it to this one instance. And if that is the case, and I don't recall if we had a motion and a second, I thought we just moved it over. Okay, well.
No, there was a second.
Was there?
I'm willing to withdraw the motion. I just, for
Yeah.
technical reasons.
Yeah, I apologize. I was under the same impression that,
Yeah.
that there was not a formal motion and second. If you are
If
willing
that-
to withdraw.
I would like to formally do that. I'd like to withdraw my motion from yesterday because I felt that we had put that forward and you were going to correct the terminology. So I'll do that, and I forgot who seconded my motion.
I think I did.
And Jerry, do you have that at all?
Does Benita seconded the motion?
Benita seconded the motion. Well,
We can make sure the record reflects
That's
that.
all.
And
okay.
It's just a technical issue.
And you're comfortable withdrawing your
Absolutely.
motion? Okay, very good. Motion carries.